Move to the next. As I write my monthly report, we've been blessed with some very welcome and timely rain. We are, however, mindful of the havoc that has been caused by torrential rains, particularly on our coastal counterparts, and it's our hope that the damage and chaos can be managed. A very busy but very rewarding month has seen Council able to officially open 6 of our infrastructure projects. The small council has certainly been able to deliver quality projects that will serve our communities well into the future. We were fortunate to have Steph Cook, Parliamentary Secretary to the Deputy Premier, officiating Darlington Point, with Helen Dole, MP, member for Murray, also in attendance. A member for Albury, Mr Justin Clancy, MP, officiated at the Jerilderie ceremonies. From the council staff, consultants, contractors and community, the genuinely collaborative efforts have delivered commendable end products. Given the COVID-19 challenges and just about any other obstacle that could have occurred, everyone concerned should be justifiably proud of these achievements. And there are more to come. What this does clearly tell us is that there will always be challenges, that if we keep our eye on the end game, the results will be very worthwhile. My congratulations to Gavin and Tammy Gilbert on another fantastic Redneck rally. To have the ability to convene and manage a large group, raising over $400,000 for the charity Country Hope, is magnificent. Such a generous time commitment is such a gift to our region. The Sid Lane project team public consultation was rolled out over 3 days from the 23rd to the 25th of February 2021. From commencement in Murrumbidgee to Morganella, Carnargo, Jerilderie and finally Murrumbidgee, all sessions were well attended and raised many important questions and allowed the communities to impart valuable historical information. The project team were given a first-hand glance at the palpable level of anxiety and uncertainty. The meeting spoke very clearly to the modernisation projects, just one challenge at a time. On the 2nd of March 2021, the General Manager John Scarce and I attended a ministerial roadshow convened by Ramjo and led by the Federal Minister for Resources, Water and Northern Australia, the Honourable Keith Pitt MP, the Honourable Susan Lee MP, Minister for the Environment, Senator Karen Davey, Senator Bridget McKenzie, and many reps from the Commonwealth Environmental Water Holder at Picnic Point. It was important that the Minister Pitt actually visited this part of the Murray-Darling Basin and viewed firsthand the all-consuming issues greatly impacting us in an ongoing manner. The Women in Business Networking Dinner held in Colliambly on the 10th of March 2021 was a great opportunity for women to meet and network. While small in attendance numbers, the guest speaker gave an enlightening address and those present took away some key messages. And I have then just listed the meetings that we have attended. I've attended, John and I have attended, and I mentioned the commissioning of the EV car charger, the launch of the Telstra Tower at Bunjul, meeting the Centre Care, the opening of our buildings, and a couple of official welcomes to our region for the United Hospitals Auxiliary and the CWA Spirit Group. We conducted some citizenship ceremonies. Welcoming new citizens to our part of the world is always an honour. The opening of the Denny Muster Museum and Admin Centre at Deniliquin, and just a couple of domestic meetings, one regarding the usage of the Darlington Point Hall, an RFS Mid-Murray Zone Captains meeting here, and further RFS meetings this week in Deniliquin, town revitalisation meetings, and other innovative ideas out there with people encouraging us to look at connectivity as long as we do all the work. So that's my report for the month. Are there any questions from that?
Just with the Darlington Point Shire Hall meeting, just wondered what was said, what happened.
Phil, would you like to speak, or you were there, Rob? You were an apology. Councillor Wells, would you like to talk to that?
They're doing some major structural work on there, and there is still a little bit more to be done. The usage of the hall, once it's all completed, was discussed and will be further later on. There is some need for some more work to be done and painting to be done in the hall. and looks as if it's starting to come back to a building that it should be. Yes, that was probably about it, Christine.
The usage of it for the future
What was
discussed there.
just whether or not it should come back to the people or for Anglicare to have it, and that was just a brief discussion at the time. Nothing came out of that. No.
If those options are still being further explored, and Sue Mitchell was to go away from that meeting and to come back at a later date with some further usage options. Any further questions? If not, would somebody like to move the mayoral report, please? Move Councillor Rice, seconded Councillor Smith. Those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, carried. Thank you. Item 1, please, John.
Thank you, Councillor McRae. We've finally had a month where we have not had to modify the COVID action plan, touch wood. So it's still the same one that's effective from February, which is covering our needs and what we have in place at the moment. The application has been put forward for the Better Building Regions Fund. It has been submitted. It was a total grant of around about $5.4 million to do a staging effort of the final master plan, which is still in its draft form. We still require to borrow the $3 million though, because some of the ineligible things of some of the work that needs to be done prior we still need to fund. So we've got that little gap there from the $3 million that we're borrowing to apply 2.7 to a $5.4 million project. So I'm not sure when that'll happen. So Stronger Country Communities Round 4, as we spoke last time, we requested councillors to send through information on what we should be looking at. 2 ideas that have been mentioned, Monash Park netball change rooms and an upgrade to the playground area joined to the change room, providing for a younger audience, and change rooms at the Colliambley squash courts. I understand the Colliambley squash have been going out and looking for funds to upgrade their facility to allow for various things, including change tables and all those wonderful sort of things within there. So that falls within there. So based on that information, given the fact that this hasn't opened, we don't know how much is going to be applied. We don't know if we're going to be guaranteed any money. We do not know. The only things that we know is it's coming out, and at least 50% of it has to be for getting women into sport to facilitate those things. So that's why they've come back from that. We will know more, but we just wanted to be in a position, if council adopts these, and we can do some prelim work to make sure that we get our budget figures right when the grant does come out for those things. Okay. The Murray-Darling Economic Development Program grant. This was the grant that we applied for with the Caravan Park last year and was unsuccessful. They've come back out. They've combined round 3 and round 4. It closes on the 12th of April. They've got a maximum of $1 million. So they've got $34 million for 38 communities in sense. Murrumbidgee Council as a whole is within the target area. So that's any community or town within Murrumbidgee LGA, whereas last year we were captured underneath the Hay bubble, which just included Darlington Point. That's the only reason why Darlington Point went ahead with that grant application last year and not something elsewhere. We've had part of that. Councillor McRae spoke about the digital connectivity. That was we've had some people ring up and say that they can assist. We apply underneath this. So it's getting evaluated. There's a couple other things that are being evaluated through Ramjo in particular. They're in their formative stages, but one of them was a collective future fund for solar development. within our councils. So each council area chip in some of their money. So you've got to think out of those communities, there's nine local government areas that are eligible for this round. So there'll be 9 local governments that would chip in, whether it's 100,000 or $250,000, depending how the application goes, to move forward to have this fund. So we're all doing all of those 9, or most of those 9 are doing a electricity audit, so we can find out what we can turn to solar, what we can do to other things for our own purposes. And that's being fully funded by Department of DPIE, but there's no guarantee we would have to fund 100% of any infrastructure that we did afterwards. So this would assist with funding some of that infrastructure or matching with other grants that may become available in the future for such infrastructure. That was one idea. And then one of the biggest things with the economic development program, they're talking about the connectivity issue and moving forward with something on that. It doesn't lend itself. We can't. A telco can't apply for this money. Only local governments or people within the area. So I was thinking that if the regional connectivity program had been announced and we knew or didn't know about 80% of our shire, we could tack on for this for the other one, but they would have been ineligible because the telco wouldn't have been able to do it. It would have to be council owned and operated. So what Ranjo is looking at is getting a paper that gives a picture of and what solutions are. So that would be a fairly expensive consultation for those 9 areas, but it should give a very good roadmap going forward and outline absolutely everything, so we can just go along. If we're sitting in front of a minister or whatever, we can just tick all of these boxes and tell them absolutely everything that is required within that space. Right? So that's where we're sitting through there. Rack their brains for anything else that could fit in within the criteria for there that we could do within our LGA. Hadn't come up with anything, right? Unless somebody's got something off the top of their cuff now that we can sort of bang together. They opened it up and they're closing it just in as quick a time. It was amazing. So the Minister Pitt gave us a hint on the 2nd of March that tomorrow we're going to be opening this. We'd heard about it the week before, but that was okay. He didn't want to steal his thunder. It's on video. He's probably sitting back watching our live stream of our council meeting now, so he'll know that we knew. So that was that. Recruitment. At the time of writing this report, we've made 3 appointments, and there's another one that I'm talking to tomorrow in relation to finalising that one. That's the Economic Tourism Development Officer position. That will happen at 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. I've got a meeting with them to work the way forward. They're an existing council employee with other duties, so we just need to work out how we finalise that work that they're doing till the end of September, October, or whatever it is, and how we fit in with this new position moving forward. So that'll happen tomorrow afternoon. We'll try and strategise that, and we'll do the offers after that. I'll be away as you resolved at the last council meeting. Thank you very much. So there'll be a recommendation moving forward to appoint Tom Dimmick as acting GM for that period of time. The other things that are coming up, just to put on the radar there, is that a Ranjo and Newell Highway Task Force meeting currently set down for the place around the 11th to the 14th of May. And then the ALGA, Australian Local Government Association in Canberra, is also taking on the 19th to the 24th of June or thereabouts. Just to give you the heads up if they still go ahead or whatever, in whatever shape or form. Then just a list of things that Anne has provided. So any questions before I put the recommendation?
Somebody want to do the recommendation, please? Councillor Bryce. Councillor Churchman, recommendations read Application be made under the Stronger Country Communities Fund Round 4 to upgrade the netball change rooms and covered area at Monash Park and the change rooms at the Collie Angley Squash Courts. 1 and 2 for the period the 2nd of April to the 11th of April 2021 inclusive. Council appoint Tom Dimmick as acting general manager. Those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Carried. Thank you. Thank you.
Vicky.
Councillors, attached is the related party disclosure policy, which required updating. We're running a little bit behind on that, however. It's here. There's only a few minor word changes within the scope of the document, so I'll put that for you for adoption.
I'd like to move the recommendation, please. Move Councillor Black, seconded Councillor Yes, that the recommendation read that the related party disclosure policy as reviewed be adopted. Those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Carried. Thank you. Item 3.
So yeah, it's minutes from the Renewal Highway Task Force. I was in attendance at Parks when the meeting was held. We had a good representation from Transport for New South Wales, as well as from Drivers Association for heavy vehicles. Along those lines, they, as noted in my report, they've got a date of the 11th of May. They've tentatively booked aside for the Canberra meeting. I'm not sure whether they changed. There was conversation that that's budget night, that Tuesday, so they were seeing in. I don't know if they sent back with anything else, whether that might change or not in relation to those things. The highway works is progressing, as everybody can see on the dualling of the road, the bridge to Dubbo and so on and so forth. And there's lots of different opinions, but I'll let everybody read the minutes, and if they've got any questions, I'll be happy to try and answer from my recollection.
My only comment around that, John, is that we better correct them that the intersection you were talking about is at the corner of the Newell Highway and Canargo Road, not Canangra Road. Yeah, in the centre of town. So the good news is we read the minutes. That's all. Are there any further questions of John or comments? I think it's a very valuable meeting that we attend, and the minutes are pretty comprehensive. So.
I'll just make a comment.
Councillor Churgwin.
We've just travelled the Newell, and I've got to say, from West Wyalong on, it's fantastic. The number of overtaking lanes is brilliant, but gee, there still needs to be a couple more between Naranda and West Wyalong.
Yeah, and I thought they were building them when I travelled between there, but they were just line marking. They had everything. I go, oh no, they put the line. You
can see where the money's spent, though. Going up in New England, there is an overtaking lane every couple of k's.
And this is one of the most active, proactive groups that have achieved that you just don't get $1.6 billion spent on your highway just by sitting back and not advocating for it. So it's
they've done really well.
Phenomenal.
Any further comments? I would like to move that the minutes be noted. Move Councillor Brown, seconded Councillor Churgwin. Those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, carried. Thank you. Item number 4, please.
Councillors, this is the monthly cash and investment report. The period ended the 28th of February. As we normally say, a snapshot in time. We will note the investment portfolio. Interest rates are continually decreasing, which is nothing new for us at this stage. But we also note that Bendigo Bank holds 55% of our investment portfolio. Any questions? There aren't any.
Any questions of any place? If not, somebody like to move that the recommendation that reads Council made the monthly cash and investment report containing the bank balances and schedule of investments as at the 28th of February 2021. Someone to move? with councillor Curthy, seconded councillor Smith. Those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, carried. Thank you. Item number 5, please.
Madam Mayor, councillors, this provides an overview to council of what we're up to with our strategic planning exercise. That involves the preparation of a land use strategy for development over the next 20 years. And the next stage, of course, is the preparation of the local environmental plan across the council area. Habitat Planning, who are doing the work for us, have advised that the framework for the completion of the land use strategy is complete and a large part of the actual documentation as well. The report explained to council that we are waiting on three bits of information in relation to biodiversity and heritage and flooding. Once we've got that information, then the report will be finalised and we'll be able to move forward with placing the draft land use strategy on exhibition. We've met with the Department of Planning and we've talked to them about where we're at with that process, and they've agreed to assist us with mapping the project.
Yes. Are there any questions of Kelly, please? Councillor
Yes,
Black.
please. On page 2, which is page 26 or 65, the second paragraph, you're still talking about the Colliambry Lake. Is
Yes.
just the land use area of that, or?
Yes, so as part of the investigation, because we've appointed biodiversity consultants to provide us with information about the council area and where we need to go in terms of biodiversity, we've asked them, so they're doing a desktop analysis for us, but as part of the work, we've asked them to provide us with a site investigation of the area that was set aside or talked about to be developed for the Colliambry Lake, so that they can give us their expert opinion about whether or not it's a no-go or whether there's a potential for moving forward, because we would like to either proceed or assist the community group in showing them the way to proceed with this, or just put it to bed.
Thank you.
Are there any further questions of Kelly? If not, would somebody like to move that the recommendation reading the information contained in the strategic planning update report be noted? Moved councillor Curthy, seconded councillor Brown. Those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, carried. Thank you. Item 6, please.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Council would be aware of the grant. I've certainly had some discussions with councillors about this in the past, both verbally and also through emails and site meetings. So the grant application has been submitted based on what the council has indicated for the projects that they wish to seek funding for. And that includes the playground at Darlington Point, the landscaping at Colliambry Hall, and some of the works associated with Luke Park, as well as the deck here for the hall. Does anyone have any questions about that report?
I've just got a question on the 350,000 for landscaping.
Oh, okay. I strongly doubt that it's going to be 350,000.
I hope not.
Given that the original amount allocated for Colliambry was 550, I think, 550,000, we wanted to assure the Colliambry community that council is spending money or looking to spend money in their area. And the reality with these type of grants, you can move money around based on council's priorities, where they want to go with the 3 projects. I'll call them 3 sub-projects because really it's one great project across the council area.
Thank you. Are there any further questions of Kelly, please? If not, I'll put the recommendation that reads the information contained in the New South Wales Public Spaces Legacy Grant be noted. Somebody move, please. Move councillor Bryce, seconded councillor Turgle. Those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, carried. Thank you. Item 7, please.
This report is purely for the information of the council on the DAs that have been determined in the last month.
Comment? Not, the recommendation will read, the information contained in the development applications approved under delegation February 2021 be noted. So, somebody like to move, please? Move Councillor Brown, seconded Councillor Smith. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carried.
Kelly, I've just been a long while since we've only had 2 in a month.
Yep.
Are there other ones opened, or is putting it on the portal making things a little bit longer or harder?
There are certainly some in the wings. Some people are finding that they haven't got all the information that they need to lodge it, and they're also requiring some assistance with putting it through the portal. Some people are also changing from a development application through to, for example, a complying development certificate. Some people have engaged builder companies who haven't provided the standard documentation, as an example, BASIX reports. So yeah, they're some of the issues. But certainly there has been some challenges in the planning portal, and I think it's fair to say that there has been some representation made to the Department of Planning or groups in New South Wales to basically put the planning portal on hold because of the difficulties some people are experiencing.
Kelly, do you think it will be due process that even though these DAs and things can now go to the planning portal, will council be advised and would that be included in our monthly reporting about the activity in our council?
Of course.
Yes. Have any further questions of Kelly? If not, the recommendation will read, the information contained in the development applications approved under delegation February 2021 be noted. Somebody like to move, please?
Already done it.
Already done, yeah.
Oh, just checking you all away.
Good girl.
Have you done all those in favour?
The barrel chain's getting heavier around the neck, isn't it?
What item are we up to? Everybody else who's on channel? Item 8. Item 8, please.
Councillors, just information on my activities during the month of February. I will note the area there under Stronger Country Community Funds. We have finally received the go-ahead for the Darlington Point Public School student facilities and the Jerilderie Community Gym. That has taken some considerable time to get authorisation and deeds of settlement signed off, so we can move forward with the works there. But I'll take any questions.
Could I just ask you, your meeting with the Monash Statue Committee, where they're up to with their project?
The at that particular meeting was a meeting with the committee members and RDA Murray. Just talking about that grant has actually been, the grant application has been submitted. Council currently holds funds that have been donated, and that grant application was for $100,000. So we'll await that outcome. So council officers actually made the grant submission, but the committee had done a lot of that work, so we could just upload most of that information.
Further questions, Vicky? I have to commend you, Vicky, on your ability to know what all of these acronyms are.
Sorry.
That's okay. You're doing a really good job. I don't know how you do it.
Sometimes I've got to say.
We won't get to mention tomorrow, it's okay.
There's lots of grants there that we've got out.
If there's no further questions, the recommendation will read that the information contained in the finance manager's report be noted. Would somebody like to move, please? Move Councillor Rice, second Councillor Churgwin. Those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Carried. Thank you. Item number 9, please.
Madam Mayor, councillors, there's nothing flash about this particular report. It really just is business as usual over the last month. Yeah, I don't know that I can comment. I don't think anything really warrants any particular comment.
Okay, are there any questions of Kelly, please? Councillor Brown.
Yeah, the Tiddler, how do they go? What's happening there? Are they off and mobile, plenty of support?
I think so. I think they're still very enthusiastic and they're wanting council to move forward with further investigating stormwater, for example, and talking to government agencies with a view for a report to go to council, so council can make some informed decisions about Tiddly moving forward.
So, Kelly, we have an operational person working with this group in that space, do we? Is that you or?
Well, yes, they're talking to me and I've undertaken to do a few things.
Okay. Thank you. Councillor Smith.
The Waddy Housing meeting, what came out of that as well?
That could be, I think that was about working through the family names for the Wiradjuri Walk, sign of the family that have been associated with Murrumbidgee. It's taken actually a fair amount of heartache trying to sort through that because there's little bits and pieces everywhere and nothing really that's completely comprehensive. So it's been a matter of bringing them together.
So through you, Madam Mayor, will council now be the repository for all of that information, or will it go to the Heritage Darlington Point archives, or once it's all correlated?
Well, we'll certainly, it'll be on TRIM. We have that information. All it is a list of names, essentially, about those people who've been associated with Warringah residing on the mission at some point in time.
Mm-hmm.
Any further questions of Kelly?
An update on the ground plan management plans?
Yeah, I've actually asked for that because we're at a point now where we want to see the end of the project. So I've asked for a status report as well as moving forward how to finalise it.
Okay. If there are no further questions, the recommendation will read the information contained in the Manager Planning and Environment Monthly Report be noted. Would somebody move, please? Move Councillor Curfew, seconded Councillor Black. Those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, carried. Item 10, please.
Thank you, Councillor Craig. On behalf of Sue, who is unwell, I think. I just got a message of where she was that was also. If there's any questions, please ask. If I can't answer them, I'll get back to you via email.
Are there any questions that councillors have derived from the report? Okay. If not, the recommendation will read the information contained in the Manager's Corporate and Community Services Monthly Report be noted. If somebody like to move, please. There's Councillor Bryce, second Councillor Churchill. Those in favour, please say aye. Those against, carried. Thank you. Item 11, please.
And on behalf of Kelly, who has commenced her maternity leave as of last week, report she has. If there's any questions that I can answer, if not, all research.
Are there any questions of John regarding this report?
Just one, John, with the voucher system, the Dine and Discover in New South Wales.
Yep.
When a business registers for that, yes, it's online, but do they receive something they put on their window so that people can know that they have registered or not?
Yeah, that was my understanding from other things that I've read, that they will get a Dine and Discover menu type thing.
Right.
But I haven't seen any of that come out yet to anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I saw in the bakery this morning they had something about that big that had Dine and Discover.
Oh,
They were ready to go, yeah.
They're blue and white.
Yep.
Yeah. Any further questions?
Okay. I haven't answered that. I hadn't seen it. That was all. Yeah, they were
That's
coming.
okay. You need to get out. Whoops, sorry. So the recommendation will read, the information contained in the Manager Economic and Tourism Development monthly report be noted. Somebody move, please. Move Councillor Smith, second Councillor Bryce. Those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, carried. Thank you. Item number 12, please.
Through you, Madam Mayor, my current report is tabulated with 3 other reports. So we've got asset management, biosecurity, and operational maintenance construction. So, any questions? Or
I'll just got a comment, Tom. I think it's good it all comes in one.
I would just like a brief report on the progress of Bencapen Avenue.
which isn't in the report. So at this point of time, Councillor Black, I'd probably like to reframe of reporting on Ben Cummins Road until we get further information back from our design section.
Thank you very much.
And Tom, do you have a time frame for when that report will be back to you?
Probably be at the end of April.
Thank you very much. Councillor Smith.
Through you, Madam Mayor. Tom, have you had a chance to have a look at the software for the assets management program?
I have. I'm currently still seeking one further quotation in regards to lasering and checking our road system. So they're coming in a little bit higher than I anticipated.
And just one further one, please.
Yes, Councillor.
In your Coleambly and Darling Point weeds, car key weed on our sides of our roads, I have never seen it so bad, and we'll have to put money aside to control that next year. I've never seen it so thick on all our rural roads, so we need maybe a $50,000 grant from government, or put money aside in the budget for next year that we seriously take an issue of car key weed on our public roads and sporting grounds.
Councillor Brown, you belong to an interest group or representative group for weed control?
SOS, yes.
Yes. Is there an opportunity to advocate through them for this type of intervention to work collaboratively with council?
I can ask. They've actually got a meeting on at 2 o'clock today, which I'm quite obviously going to be at. Yeah, I can ask, but they're more worried about spray dripping, and its consequences, and
it's a user body rather than being a.
Yes, I understand that. However, there may be a connection or a contact or a network we could tap into that may allow us on trade to some grant funding that would enable us to look at this highlighted issue that Councillor Black's brought to the table, which will need some serious consideration going forward.
Yeah, it's a huge problem in the northern part of the council area.
Are there any further questions of Tom? If not, the recommendation will read that the information contained in the Director of Infrastructure monthly report be noted. Somebody like to move, please? Move Councillor Brown, seconded Councillor Smith. Those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Carried. Thank you. Right. Okay, that's the end of that. We will now move into confidential. Would somebody like to move that we move into confidential, please? Councillor Kirby, seconded Councillor Smith. Those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against? Carried. Thank you.
Will there be an opportunity for general questions later?
Move to Item number 13, the economic development proposal. And resolved on the motion of councillors Curfew and Sheridan that council offer its support for the economic development proposal as detailed within the economic development proposal report. Moved. Oh, sorry. Carried. Item number 14, the Commonwealth Home Support Program. Resolved on the motion of councillors Bryce and Brown that council endorse the information to be conveyed to Commonwealth Home Support Program clients and the 7 recommendations as detailed within the Commonwealth Home Support Program report be adopted, thereby allowing council to move forward on the delivery of the Commonwealth Home Support Program. Councillor Wells requested his opposition to the motion be recorded. Agreed. Item number 15, the Director of Planning. Resolved on the motion of councillors Bryce and Smith that council authorise the recruitment of the Director of Planning, endorsing the position as senior staff subject to a 5-year performance-based contract. Carried. The item without notice was the industrial land for sale, and resolved on the motion of councillors Churton and Bryce that the sale price for the lots 516 and 517 Amaroo Avenue, Colliambley be amended to the amounts as detailed within the industrial land for resale report, which adequately represent the current land values. Carried. That concludes our meeting.
No general business.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Give it some time.
Yep. All right, we have two items of general business. The first, Councillor Black, would you like to speak, please?
My first information I would like. Yesterday there were 3 cars bogged on McLennan's-Ball Road between Cadell Road and Kidman Way. This road was had road signs put up saying road closed. Can this also be put on live traffic so other people cannot use this road?
That's a good suggestion, Councillor Black.
And secondly, the Colliambley office status. I would like to know the status when the office is going to go back to 5 days a week, opening hours for the community.
Thank you, Councillor Black. Yeah, we've got some permanent information from what we were waiting for, so we're moving forward. I would hope that within a week or so after Easter, we'll be back to 5 days of trading in the Colliambley office. Just part of that we're working through. That's all. So
thank you very much.
Far away. Thank you.
Okay, no further business. I'll declare the meeting closed. Thank you.
As far as I understand, there's no general business.
Got to have items.